Hello, everyone. Welcome to Royal Black and Elite. I'm Lady Trinette Wilson, and today we're going to talk about Octavia E. Butler. She was the nation's first African American female science fiction writer. Often in history, we don't talk about science fiction writers, and certainly not female ones. So I thought you would enjoy this lecture. So, hello, everyone. Hello, visitors, my royalers, and members. I really appreciate you taking some time out. This woman really had a wonderful career. She was really brilliant. But again, we don't normally hear about her, so she is definitely worth a Royal Black and Elite lecture. Now, she's a California girl, and she was a only child. She was born on June the 22nd, 1947 in Pasadena, and she has her mother's name. Her mother was named Octavia also. Sadly, however, her father, his name was James, and he passed when she was only 3 years old. She recalled her upbringing being very strict. She was raised by her mother and her grandmother in a Baptist, background as far as religion is concerned. And she said she always felt very subconscious and shy. So she was extremely shy. She was awkward. These are the words she's using. And even some people called her unattractive, but the ugly word. And so she really was self-conscious. So she spent a lot of time in the local library. And there's where she really discovered her love for science fiction. And she liked to read stories like Amazing Stories and Galaxy Science. So this is back in the, early 50s, you all. Are you all science fiction fans? Did you all ever read any of these things? I think the first time we saw the one was like George Jetson. So we knew, oh, okay, there must be a space somewhere. And so that was the first, encounter with science fiction that I had, but you put yours down below. Did you read any of these magazines back in the day? And are you into science fiction now? Now, because she loved reading and writing, her mother bought her a typewriter when she was 12 years old. Prior to the typewriter, she would just write in this book. She would call it the pink book, the pink notebook. So this is where she would write most of her stories. But after she got that typewriter, she began to write more. And when she saw this movie called The Devil Girl from Mars, she decided, oh, she could write much better. And so there she went to work. I think Jordan Peele's Nope was kind of in that science fiction genre, but I didn't like that movie too much. Tell me down below, did y'all see Nope? I didn't like Nope too much, but here she is writing now because she has been inspired by this movie that she feels she can do better than. So she's told stories from a different point of view from her black perspective. So she would tell science fiction stories through the slave's point of view, which was really new and a fresh look on things. And she really began to elevate and write and learn how to write even more after graduating from high school in 1965. So she went on to UCLA. She did more like a writer's camp. She did graduate with her associate's degree. But in this writer's camp in UCLA, she started to meet other writers. And she wrote her first science fiction series. Now, it took 5 years to write, but she wrote it. And it was called The Patternist. And it was about telepathic mind control. So there were 5 books in the series, and they were released from 1976 to 1984. These things are worth thousands and thousands of dollars today. Do any of you all have these books? The Patternist. This was her first series. There were 5. Then in 1979, she wrote a book called Kindred, and this was about slave time travel. So again, she used black people in her stories. Now, she faced much racism, discrimination as an author, so she didn't always reach the financial pinnacle that other people reach, but she was able to support herself. She never was married, never had any children, but she financially took care of herself. So this is how she did it, writing these stories. Now, in 1984, her career really skyrocketed because she won an award from the Science Fiction Chronicles for the best novelette. As you can imagine, Miss Butler really had a flavor for the dramatic, if you're a science fiction person, right? And she really got her sources and her inspiration from a lot of different places. So one place that she got it from is she traveled to the Amazon rainforest and Andes in 1984. And she was inspired to write a series called Lilith's Blood, and this was about a vampire. So she really wrote a lot of different types of stories. And again, these people we do not hear about. And it just brings me honor to talk about her today. Now, Miss Butler's career continued in 1998. She wrote a set of books called The Parables of the Sower and The Parable of the Talent. But during this time, she also was suffering with a great deal of depression and blood pressure problems. So she actually wrote her last book called The Fledgling in 2005, and that was about vampires. Now, she would go on to pass only 1 year later. Reportedly, she suffered a stroke. And when she suffered the stroke, she fell down and hit her head. She was out in front of her house in Lake Forest, Washington. This was on February the 24th, 2006. So again, only 59 years old. And I think, again, one of the reasons we don't know about her is because she didn't have children to, have the legacy continue on. And no one ever talks about her. So I just thought a great lecture to do today. I want to thank you all for joining me. As you know, my lectures are for educational and entertainment purposes only, and the Fair Act use is in effect. Now, we should recognize her and celebrate her. Now we have a new Black history story to tell. My resources were the Boston Beacon. I also used Octavia E. Butler papers, and also Dorothy Allison's The Future of Female from the Village Voice. So those were my sources. Now, I also want to share with you something big coming on behalf of the channel. I'm very excited because I will be releasing my book called Everything Black on this Friday. The pre-sales will start and the book will be released August 1st. Now, Everything Black is a compilation of everything throughout 400 years of Black history. You name it, it is in there. From slave ships to the civil rights movement to the laws affecting Blacks, to people who affected, to royal Black and elite Black people within our history. I mean, Black business districts, all of the Black social organizations, a look at Africa. I mean, everything. Absolutely everything Black. The link for you to pick yours up for a discounted price, because its pre-sale will be on Friday. The book will be released officially August the 1st. So I want to thank you all for joining me for another great episode of Royal Black and Elite. Now, YouTube says you may like this video that's coming up next. So continue to learn and watch. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comment down below. Did you know about this science fiction genre and Black people were even in it? And will you be joining me Friday as I go live to talk about everything Black? Have a great day.